Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more Chernobyl, and it still feels really weird to be saying it so happy considering the tone of this show. You guys, I am really looking forward to seeing more. If you're joining me early today, you know what it means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so much, and as always, I'm sending you up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in the description down below. So last time on Chernobyl, I feel like things started to kind of set in a lot more. And it's interesting to me because watching the first episode, it really felt like so many of the officials were trying to, you know, it felt like there was a lot of responsibility kind of being shirked, but it wasn't even so much that as much as they just weren't even acknowledging what had really happened or the extent of it. And to be fair, like there was a little bit of speculation on exactly how bad it was, but then like when it started becoming clearer and clearer and people, like more people were coming forward and saying like, look, this is what's going on, it kind of felt like there was still like that denial. But one thing that I noticed last episode, and I noticed it most with I can't recall his name, but he's the character that they paired up with the expert who we've kind of been following from the beginning. We saw him like making the tapes in the beginning, and now we're following what he's been doing during the actual events. They like paired him up with this guy, and at first I was so over the guy. I was like, come on. But as soon as he really like realized the extent of the situation, he was very helpful, and he was actually very brave because, you know, there's a line in the episode where the guy's telling him, you know, we basically only all have 5 years to live now because of this, and you can tell it's really weighing heavily on the man, and he, you know, steps up and takes charge anyway, and kind of takes charge when they're asking for people to come in and, you know, go back into the facility, because then there all this other stuff happened, this whole other can of worms where they have to get back in, and or else there's going to be lava and all this stuff. But you know, it really drove home to me that, you know, a lot of the higher ups or, you know, officials or whatever, like once they actually do realize what's going on, like they do take a lot of responsibility, and so many of the people were very brave to step up and like put their own lives in danger in order to, you know, try and reduce the risks of what has been going on, and also, you know, just save as many lives as possible, I guess. It's just too bad that it took so long for it to really be realized, like how dangerous it was, because, you know, if they said the people who had been so close to the plant only had about 5 years to live, I wonder, like, all the townspeople, if they were really heavily affected, even though we saw them evacuating, you know, kind of what are the long-term effects on those individuals. And I've heard from many of you guys that there's going to be a lot of my questions will be addressed in a little epilogue that they do during the end credits of the last episode. So, which is only like 2 episodes away now. I think this is only a 5-episode series. So I'll look forward to that and finding out what happened, because like sadly, like I know the broad concept of what happened at Chernobyl, but I don't really know a lot of the details, which in a way is good for my reactions here, because I'm kind of figuring it all out for the first time. But I don't really know very much about, you know, the long-lasting effects, or what happened to the people who evacuated, or, oh my God, the animals, they wouldn't let them take the animals. Oh my Lord. Oh, and you know what? Many have warned me that if I thought that was sad, like there's some really uncomfortable, sad stuff still coming. So, and of course, you know, nobody, you guys are all really cool about spoilers, so nobody has said anything specific, but I will just reiterate that I have Sad Unicorn fully stocked with 2-ply, because I think I will be needing her services before the end of the series. Long before the end of the series. Probably like this episode. So, yeah, we left off. These men had gone into the facility, and all of their lights started going out, and I guess it was the radiation that kind of fried everything, and so they were trying to get access to something. I think there was something about like the water, the hoses or something were still going, and because of that, it was gonna like mix and make like a lava, and the whole place was gonna erupt, and it was gonna be even worse. So not only am I scared for those men, but now I'm like, oh my god, what about the lava though? So it's definitely a very intense series, but it's very captivating, and I am looking forward to seeing more and figure out what happens, and I think it's going to be very sad, but hopefully there will be a few wins along the way. I don't know. I hope so. Fingers crossed, guys. So what do you say we get started? Next episode, Chernobyl. Let's go. All right, you guys. That was another intense episode. There has been a lot of really good progress made, which is great. But it kind of feels like even their wins aren't really, there's so much unknown about this whole situation that like even, oh great, well we've got all these people in here to install these things and it's gonna help and great. And then we hear the scientists saying like, basically we have a 50-50 shot if that's even gonna work. And it's like, wow. So, you know, it's true, like those miners are risking everything. And they, like, the head guy knows. He knows, like, exactly what the score is. He's, I actually ended up liking him a lot. He's very no-nonsense. Did not need to see him naked, though. That part I didn't need. But good character. Well, I say character, but he really existed, I'm guessing. I'm guessing most of this, like, was very... I know there were probably some, like, artistic liberties taken with the characters and everything, but, you know, and then for him to... you know, level with Boris is his name. I couldn't remember his name. To level with him and be like, all right, well, are they going to be taken care of? And it's like, we really don't know. Because it's, I feel like it's still really up in the air when it comes to knowing how to even, like, care for people who are suffering from radiation. Like, you can tell the hospitals, like, they know what's going on, but even, like, they're not so used to a situation like this and educated on it yet that, like, you know, we know the nurse let the woman in and everything. To be fair, the nurse is just trying to be nice. But, I mean, now that woman has been exposed and her baby's been exposed, again, she said she wasn't pregnant. And the lady told her not to go in the plastic, but, I mean, who could blame the woman either? Because her husband's a firefighter, and she sees his skin looks burned. She's thinking he got badly burned putting out a fire. I don't think anyone really realized what exactly was going on. You know, you hear radiation, but, like, probably before, like, now everyone thinks of Chernobyl, you know? But before this happened, all of this was so kind of relatively, new or just not, they hadn't had a lot of experiences like this, that, you know, like your average person wasn't gonna think like, you know, if you get burned by a fire, you don't have to worry about fire spread, you know, once fire's out, you don't have to worry about like hugging the person and getting burned, you know? So like, it makes sense that there would be a lot of, you know, lack of understanding of the situation. So who could blame a wife? A poor woman. Oh my god. And a few of you have filled me in that, so I guess this is kind of a spoiler because I guess she's alright, but a few people fill me in that like we kind of get a little bit about her, the real life woman's story a little bit. In the end credits, or like there is a story, like she wrote a book or something like that, Maybe a mix of the two. I just remember like someone commenting something like that. So, but that's, I mean, I'm happy to know that hopefully she's okay, having been in such close contact, with her husband and everything. I don't know about the baby though. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to know. Ugh. And the animals, they're gonna have to put down the animals. That's so sad. And like, it's a horrible no-win situation. Like, I can look at it and see how a lot of this was like the fault of the way it was handled. But a lot of it is just awful, awful. It's like, of course you have to send in all these people to try and reduce the risk of this becoming an even worse situation. But at the same time, you're like actively signing off on like thousands of deaths. What are you going to do? Like, you don't, that's a no-win scenario. And like the scientists, like I give them so much credit because they're in a position where, you know, being the only two people who really know what's going on is a horrible burden to bear, you know? But, you know, there is this huge sense of responsibility, like for everything you could say about the way that this was handled and kind of the way that, you know, certain officials are like taking the facts and everything and how much they want to release and how, you know, whatever lying is going on and whatever. Like, you can say all that, but there's also like a lot of really good people here who are like willing to go above and beyond to protect their country and do it the best that they can and, you know, find out what's really going on and everything, to kind of go above and beyond, like, even though they know the risks. So it's just one of those things, you know. I think you're always going to have, like any situation, you're going to have like a mix of good and bad that's done when it's an event of this magnitude, you know. So that's who the people were following our guys around. Like, they have what the gentleman referred to as a circle of accountability. So, wow, I have to say I'm learning an awful lot about like the state of things. Like, I wouldn't really know how any of this political structure worked if it wasn't for this show. It's very, very, very interesting. And it's very interesting how it does like influence all of the facts, events, everything. All right. Well, I'm officially heartbroken for the firefighter's wife. I'm officially heartbroken for like all the citizens because like first they're evacuated, but then like not even enough people are evacuated. And we know from like their conversation in this episode that like, okay, well their skin might not melt off in a few weeks, but yeah, they're all gonna face like some pretty serious effects because of having been so close, you know, especially people like in the actual town, I'm sure. But again, like I'm sure we'll find that out at the end of the show, like how many people actually were affected and how many died and everything. It's just heartbreaking though, like from the start of the show, it's been such a slow release of, you know, like it would be absolutely horrible had there been like an explosion and a bunch of people died, but it would be over. And what's like really even, it's just so heartbreaking about the situation is that it's happening slowly, like a slow, painful, horrible, gruesome kind of death for so many people. I mean, it sounded like they had quite a few people in that one hospital who are just suffering. So it's really, whew. I can see what you guys meant, that this weighs on you, you know? It really does. Especially knowing that it really happened, too. You know, like, this would be a very heavy drama by itself, but, like, knowing that this really affected so many people, it's, wow. Alright, guys. Well, 2 episodes left. I don't know, like, how happy of an ending we can get at this point. Like, this isn't going to be, like, a happy ending situation. But we'll see. You know, there's still some hope for the woman and her baby, and, I don't know what happens to the one female scientist. We kind of saw what happened to the one professor already. Yeah, there's no happy ending here, is there, guys? This isn't. Let's watch a fun, happy show after this. After this one, let's watch a fun, happy show, okay? No, but I really can't wait to see what happens next. It's a wonderfully done show. Like I said, I'm learning a lot. But yeah, I think it's going to get a lot worse from here, because we're already seeing, like, a lot of the really horrible effects and everything, and deaths now and everything. But we'll see. We'll see what happens next. We still have to figure out the mystery of what exactly happened with Core. Because that, like I've been saying from the beginning, what happened? So we'll have that to look forward to, you know? Not so much like the deaths and everything, but let's look forward to figuring out what happens, you know? Well, that'll be our silver lining. Get some truth up in here. Alright, guys. I'm keeping Sad Unicorn handy. I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please be sure to join me next time, and we will watch it together, because I'm going to need you guys to get through this. Bye for now, guys.